So we're recording scene 7. All right. All right, scene 7. Okay, you turned in scene 6. You turned in scene. Scene 6. Just a couple pages of this. Remember, it's a tragedy. There's got to be some death. All right. Can we have you introduce yourselves and the part you're reading? So, Max, can you start with you?
I'm Max, and I'm reading Yuri Dice.
Your dice.
I'm Logan, I'm doing Dragos.
I'm Elizabeth, I'm doing Creon. I'm Hadley, I'm doing Messenger. I'm Ava, I'm doing Messenger.
All right. And I'm going to ask you in the back. I know you had a great time reading everything, but you can please be quiet, pay attention to these people up here. You're following along in your script with scene 7. All right. This is where it all ends up. Enter Messenger. Sad. So the last we know, Creon's like, get me an axe. I'm chopping her out of there, right? Now, scene 7. Enter, ladies, control yourself. Enter Messenger. Saddened.
What is your news for us?
They are dead. The living are guilty of their death.
Who is guilty? Who is dead? Speak.
Haman. Haman is dead, and the hand that killed him is his own hand.
His
All right,
father?
stop for 1 second. Can you, again? Hey, who's dead?
Creon's son.
Creon's son's dead. And it says the hand that killed him is his own hand, so he killed himself. All right, so you got Haman's dead. The side talk, can you stop it, please? All right, Dragos.
His father's or his own?
His own, driven mad by the murder his father had done.
Pharisees? How could you decide all?
This is my news. You must draw what conclusions you can form.
But look, here it is. Our queen has overheard us.
Okay, so enter, so they're like, oh my God. Dragos is like, Teresa, you knew this was gonna happen. Remember, Teresa said, flesh of your flesh, that Haman's dead. Okay, but look, here comes a queen. Enter Eurydice from the palace.
I have heard something, friends. As I was unlocking the gate of Athena's shrine, for I needed her help today, I heard a voice telling of some sorrow, and I fainted there at the temple with all my maidens about me. But speak again, whatever it is, I can bear it. Grief if I are not certain news.
Okay, so Eurydice, that's Creon's wife. That's Haman's mom. And she said, hey, what's going on? I went to go worship at the shrine of Athena, and I fainted. I was really upset about something, but what's going on? I'm familiar with grief. Tell me what happened. Okay? Messenger.
Dearest lady, I will tell you plainly all that I have seen. I shall not try to comfort you. What is the use? Since comfort could lie only in what is not true. The truth is always best. I went with Creon to the outer plains where Polynices was lying. No friend to pity him, his body shredded by dogs. We made our prayers in that place to Hecate and Hades, that they would be merciful. And we bathed the corpse with holy water, and we brought fresh broken branches to burn what was left of it. And upon the urn we heaped up a towering baron of the earth of his own land.
Okay, just pause and say you're doing great. So he's like, hey, Queen, I went with Creon. The first thing we did is we buried Polynices. We went over to his body and kind of, not a lot there, but we prayed to the gods, right? We bathed the corpse with water. We gave them all the burial ceremony. We did it right by now. Okay, all right? Okay, and then what happens?
When we were done, we ran to the vault where Antigone lay on her couch of stone. One of the servants had gone ahead, and while he was yet far of vertical, grieving within the chamber, and he came back and told Creon. And as the king went closer, the air was full of waiting, the words lost, and he begged us to make all haste. Am I a prophet? He said, weeping, all must I walk this way, the saddest of all that I've gone before. My son's voice calls me on. Oh, quickly, look through the grievance there, and tell me if it is Haman or some deception of the gods.
So Creon's like, oh my gosh, and As he got to the crypt, to the vault, to set Antigone free, he hears some wailing. And he tries to see, and he's like, he hears crying, he's like, oh my God, is that really my son in there? In that vault?
He obeyed, and in the cavern's far this corner we saw her lying. She had made a noose of her fine linen veil, and hanged herself. Haman lay beside her, his arms about her waist, lamenting her, his love lost underground, crying out that his father has torn her away from him.
Okay, I'll pause right there. So what did they see? They see that Antigone made a noose for herself. So she had a veil, and she hung herself with that. So in the vault, she killed herself. She hung herself with that, and Haman was lying beside her. He was embracing her, and he was crying that his father had stolen his love.
When Creon saw him, the tears rushed to his eyes, and he called to him, "What have you done, child? Speak to me. What are you thinking that makes your eyes so strange?" "Oh, my son, I came to you on my knees." But Haman spat in his face. He said not a word, staring, and suddenly drew his sword and lunged. Creon shrank back, and the blade missed, and the boy, desperate against himself, drove it half its length into his own side and fell. And as he died, he gathered Antigone close in his arms again, choking his blood bright red on her white cheek. And now he lies dead with the dead, and she is his love, at last, his bride in the houses of the dead.
Okay, so Creon sees Haman holding on to dead Antigone, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing, Haman? I'm nervous. Your eyes look strange." And Haman gets up and he spits in his father's face. Right? He's blaming his dad for this, right? And what he does, Haman pulls out his sword and tries to go at his dad with it. He lunges at his dad with it. Creon goes, whoa, avoids it, and Haman misses him. And instead, Haman then stabs himself with his own sword. Okay? So he's got Antigone, hung herself, and then Haman stabbed himself. Okay? So as he died, he's like, he held on to Antigone, kind of like, let's see, Romeo and Juliet.
I was just gonna say, this reminds me a lot of,
RJ. And they're together, and as they said, at last, he has his bride, right? They're connected, they're joined in this house of death. Mike, did you have a seat? Okay, exit Eurydice silently into the house. So basically, this messenger just said, hey, I just saw your son kill himself. First, he tried to kill your husband in Creon, and then he killed himself. Okay, so poor Eurydice hears this, and she silently goes back into the house.
She has left us without a word. What can this mean?
It troubles me too, yet she knows what is best. Her grief is too great for public lamentation, and doubtless she has gone to her chamber to weep for her dead son, leading her maidens in his dirge.
Yeah, so there's lamentation. It's like, she's the queen. She's not gonna cry and make a fuss in public, so she's gonna go to her room to cry. And interesting, her maids, the ladies in waiting, will her dirge again is like, oh. So her ladies in waiting, her gals are gonna be moaning Haman's death loudly. Progress.
It may be so. That's where
Pause.
I will see what she is doing. I will go in.
But here is the king himself. Oh, look at him, bearing his own damnation in his arms.
Nothing you say can touch me anymore. My own blind heart has brought me from darkness to
Oh,
light.
no, can I just interrupt for a second? Creon enters the stage and he's carrying Haman's cross. Okay. Sorry.
Nothing you can say can touch me anymore. My own blind heart has brought me from darkness to final darkness. Here you see the father murdering and the murdered son, and all with civil wisdom. Haman, my son, so young to die. I was the fool, not you, and you died for me.
That is the truth, but you were late in learning it.
The truth is hard to bear. Surely God has crushed me beneath the huge weight of heaven, and driven me headlong, dark and gray, to trample out the thing that held most dear, the pain that men will take.
So he's again, there's the tragedy of losing a child, right? And he's just fraught with grief and stress, right? Now enter the messenger of the palace.
The burden you carry in your hands is heavy, but it is not all. You will find more in your house. What burden worse than that this shall I find here? The queen is dead. O port of death, death world. Is there no pity for me? In you, angel of evil, I was dead, and your words are death again. Is it true, boy? Can it be true? Is my wife dead? Has bread dead?
Has death bred death? Like in other words, there's one death already. Has that caused yet another death? Remember this prophecy, right? People are gonna be crying in your house, flesh of your flesh. And the messenger says,
You can see for yourself. Oh, pity.
the doors are open and the body of Eurydice is lying prone within, so lying down flat. Okay, so here's the stage, they open it up, and then we see Eurydice on a slab, right? She's killed herself.
All truth, and more than I can bear. Oh, my wife, my son. She stood before the altar, and her heart welcomed the nuns that her own hand guided. And a great cry burst from her lips for Megarus.
Megarus is dead. It's Megarus' brother Haman died in the assault on Thebes. Oh my gosh, so Creon and Eurydice had another son who died in the war on Thebes. Okay? Okay, so keep going.
Dead, and for Haman dead, her sons, and her last breath was a curse for their father, the murder of her sons. And she fell, and the dark flooded through her closing eyes. Oh God, I'm sick with fear. Are there no swords here? Has no one a blow for me?
So what do you think Creon wants to have his own sword here? Like, does anyone have a sword? Anybody? Yeah, I think he's thinking he's gonna kill himself. He's like, I've lost everyone, right? Lost both my sons and my wife. That's right. Messenger says,
First upon the deaths of both. Is it right that it should be? I'm alone. I'm guilty. I know it. And I say it. Lead me in, quickly, friends. I have neither life nor substance. Lead me in.
You are right. If there can be right in so much wrong, the briefest way is the best in a world of sorrow.
Let it come. Let death come quickly and be kind to me. I would not ever see the sun again.
All that will come when it will be, but we meanwhile have much to do. Leave the future to itself.
All my heart was in that prayer.
Then do not pray anymore. This guy is dead.
Lead me away. I have been rash and foolish. I have killed my son and my wife. I look for comfort. My comfort lies here dead. Whatever my hands have touched has come to nothing. Fate has brought all my pride to the thought of death.
as Creon is being led into the house, the Paragos advances and speaks directly to the audience. So Creon's like, I really wish I could be dead right now. I don't want to do this anymore. And the Paragos is like, yeah, I get it, but you know what? Your death is going to come when it will. You can't force that, but you got a lot to do. Okay? Beck and Danny, could you stop? You got a lot to do. Okay? So you can't leave us now. You've got a responsibility ahead of you to make it right. Okay? So Paragos advances and speaks directly to the audience.
There is no happiness where there is no wisdom. No wisdom but in submission to the gods. Big words are always punished, and proud men in old age shall learn to be wise.
Right, and even there, Paragos says there's no wisdom but in submission to the gods and obeying the gods. Okay, and that is the end of the tragedy of the Antigone. Please give the scene 7 readers a round of applause. So you know what to do. Let's get out that scene 7 summary and have this be done. Okay. Oh, sorry, honey.
Oh, no, you're.
So scene 7. I think he said 1 or 2. I'm sick of him. I'm also going to move back up here and then compare from Danny. So I've got to make a note to myself to move back. Did you? All right. Is it not posted? Okay. Oh, scene 7 isn't? Okay. So refresh. Scene 7 summary is up there. All right. Let's do this. I hope I don't get low on power here. All right. Scene 7. Oopsies, where did that go? Yeah, no. All right. Scene 7. You've got the script in front of you. You've got your scene 7 summary. And this one, I am only going to write what you tell me to write. Okay. So this one, you guys tell me what to write for this. Summarize it. Summarize the scene. Someone tell me what happened at the beginning. Grace. Right? He's doing it with dignity, right? He's doing it the proper way. Right? He's doing it the right way, right? Okay, he does that. So thank you, Grace. What else happens after that? Yeah, Mike. What if he did that before he buried Paul? Like, what if he grabbed her first and then buried Paul? Maybe he could have buried Paul with it, but we wouldn't have seen it. After that, he goes to Antigone's jail to set her free. But what does he find there? Yes, Eden. Antigone hung herself. What else? Who else is there with Antigone? Yes. Haman. Very good. Haman was there. And he took his sword and what? Yeah, Alita. And tried to stab his dad, but missed. And then what? Yeah. And he ended up, yes, Sarah. And then Haman stabbed himself instead. Yes. So he was like this. He's so mad, right? She's his father, patooing in his face. He's like grabbing his sword, like, ah! He's like, ah!
Great.
I think I'm gonna, you know what? Should I do Antigone, one person show and film that with us?
Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna happen. I'm making a musical. Antigone.
Oh, no, I think that should be a 2-person show.
But come on, come join me. Come join me with that one. Come join me. Okay, for sure. Musical, we're in. Yes, exactly. Who's a salty daddy? I'm a sweet papa. All right. All right. Then what happens? Okay. So we've got Antigone dead. Haman just stabbed himself. What does Creon do now? Creon does what? Carries him home. Okay, what? Sorry, Carla. What? Creon carries his son Haman back to the palace and finds out his what? Keon. Okay. Yeah, the messenger told all of this to okay, Creon carries his son back, Haman back to the palace and finds out his wife killed herself. Okay. All right. Creon wants to die, but what? What does the chorus and the Karagos tell him? Does the Karagos say, yeah, kill yourself, Creon, here's a sword? No. What do they say? Do they say, you got to buck up, you got a job to do? You got to make things right here. Yeah, and to die, but Chorus tells him he can't. He has to make things right in his city state. Yes. He also tells Creon to let death find him. I love it, right? You can't kill yourself. And another way too, it's almost like Creon, you created this mess. You didn't listen to anyone's advice, especially Big Terry, the prophet. And now all those prophecies came true, right? Flesh of your flesh, Haman died. People are weeping in your house. Antigone died. Your wife died. You can't compensate the easy way out by killing yourself. You've got to fix this and make it right. Right? It's hard to admit when you're wrong. And one thing, you don't like say like, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. A good apology is, I'm sorry that I did this. And I want to make things right by you and a way to make amends. Okay. So the course is like, you've got to, you know what, let death find you. You've got to make things right. You've got to fix this city state and clean up this mess. Okay. All right. Do we have any evidence in here about, I'll give you one that I have, I think it's the very last page, page 48. Page 48. Creon says, I alone am guilty. I know it. Okay, so I think you can say that that could stand as evidence that Creon was wrong, that maybe Antigone is not guilty of treason, that even Creon says he's guilty of making a mistake. All right. Yes, Keon. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Where's that part? Whatever. The bottom of 48. Oh, good quote. Thanks. I'm gonna put that. Thanks, Keon. Whatever my hands have touched has come to nothing. Right? I screwed everything up. As a king, my very first day of being a king, I made this law and it was an unfair law. And because of that, and because I couldn't yield, because I couldn't be flexible, I wouldn't listen to anybody. Now my son is dead, my wife is dead, and Antigone's dead. And I've got this city state that is pretty darn mad at me. Okay. And I don't want them to be seen as weak. I don't want Sparta coming in and kicking our butt. I got to try to rebuild and get the trust of my people. And who's left alive? Ismene. Poor little baby sister Ismene. Let's hope Creon doesn't try to marry her. Okay, that would be weird. She is left alive. All right. Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I have an appointment that I gotta go to, so, well.
Bye, sweet peach. See you later, honey. for to grade his work, that's on me, honey. I got you.
Okay.
I got you with that. All right. All right. So this is, we're done. Mike, could you have a sit down? I don't know why you keep getting that. Are you on? Everybody, turn it. Anyone have any questions about this scene? Any questions? Now's the time to ask. Questions about this play? Questions about this scene? Yes.
Is there like a moral behind this or no?
Oh, it's a great idea question. So have me ask the question, is there a moral to this story? And I would say to you that at this time, there was a democracy in Athens. They had already gone through some pretty horrible leaders there, some pretty corrupt, let's you stop talking over here, talking to everybody. Some corrupt leaders there. And so Sophocles, people would write these plays to kind of make a comment on what was going on in society. So this was a very anti-monarchy play, okay? The idea being that they didn't trust, Sophocles is like, we don't want the power to be in the hands of one person, because what if we get a tyrant? What if we get a leader that doesn't listen, that makes mistakes like this? So this is more of a pro-democracy, down with the monarchy. Yes. Yes. Hi.
There's kind of like a modern,
Tell me.
thing. It kind of like hints that you should get wives, even like when, if you're strong-willed and you like truly think that you're right, and somebody's telling you you're not, maybe you should listen to them.
Absolutely. Again, that pride, they keep telling him, your pride is getting in the way. Your ego is getting in the way. And everyone said, you're right. That goes for any time of day, right? Any leader that keeps saying, if you're flexible, remember that idea, a flexible tree bends and doesn't get its branches knocked off in a storm. Okay? Remember I told you in San Francisco, buildings are built so they roll with the earthquakes. So they move with earthquakes. So when the ground tremors, it won't fall apart. Okay? So this is a good lesson for everybody. It's like, check your pride and your ego. Listen to other people. Measure their advice. Okay? Don't be unwilling to rethink things and change your mind. All right. Excellent, excellent work. Turn this in. Alita, I think you got your idea on the ground. Don't forget it. Okay? Turn this in. Tomorrow, we will give you the paper assignment. We will also tell you what position you will be writing for. And we will get, hey, can you stop getting, like 2 more minutes, I swear, I'm almost done. Tomorrow, we'll give you the paper assignment. Okay, Katie, like this is really distracting. Can you stop? We'll give you the paper assignment. We'll explain it to you a bunch of times. I will let you know if your position is, if you've got to write that Antigone is guilty or that Antigone is not guilty. Even if you think, like I was telling Noah, I think she's not guilty, let's say. But I could still form an argument why you may think she is guilty, okay? We're gonna brainstorm ideas of why we think she should be guilty or not guilty, share evidence, and over the next few days, tomorrow you'll write paragraph 1. The next time we meet, you'll write paragraph 2. And then you write paragraph 3 and you'll be done. It's a 3-paragraph essay. If you want to challenge yourself to write an intro and a conclusion, you can. You don't get extra credit for it, but it's good practice to have a teacher read over your work. Okay? And this will be due in class next week. All right? We'll give you time to work on it. Yes?
I had a question. So, at this point, before everything happened, would people be able to switch? Not commute. Could someone from Thebes go to Spartan?
No, that was a really hard thing. So someone left Thebes and it's like, I think you're gonna move to Sparta. Sparta, no way, like, you're not a citizen of here, you're not from here, you have no history here. Yes, you could live here, but you can be a slave. Okay, so this idea, it wasn't so easy to move. Remember those big mountains and stuff in between? In Athens, they thought you were a citizen and you could vote only if you were born in Athens. So it wasn't so easy to move around. That's a really good question. That's why some people are mad at Athens. Traders or people that moved there because of business, they still couldn't vote. Okay. Good question. We'll talk about Greek democracy later. We'll do more stuff along those lines. I know the other 2 classes are doing a Socrates trial. I don't know if we'll have time to do that. We kind of wanted to focus more on giving you time in class to write this paper. So we'll see what happens, okay? And then next, after that, we'll talk about, our next will be about Rome, the Middle Ages, and the Renaissance. And we'll read and act out Romeo and Juliet. Okay? All right. My time for you, but you don't need to have your back up. Your job, each table will be assigned a scene, and you've got to translate into any time period you want. And then we write the dialogue for that. All right, so turn in scene 6 summary, scene 5, scene 7. You are done. Now you can have some fun talking to each other. So, whoa, you got 16 minutes? No one's lining up by the door? Just hang it with your friends over here. Okay? Turn up to the door. Of course. Yeah, I just have to open a crack.
We'll see.
Honey, we have 15 minutes left of class. Okay? I think you can stay here. If you want to stay somewhere quiet, you could sit at Mr. Moss's desk if you want to. But no, you're not going to the LLC now.
The vote here. I forgot
Oh.
to give it.
Perfect. Thank you, my love.
Yeah.